All right, let's just start with this. Donald Trump has pardoned someone who was really down on his luck and is really... The president can pardon whoever he wants, really, for any reason. You recall that Bill Clinton pardoned Mark Rich on the way out of his administration. People were very upset about that. I think with some justification, frankly, not appropriate in my estimation. I think Eric Holder was one of the people who promoted that. If I'm not misremembering. It turns out that Donald Trump has pardoned Conrad Black. Conrad Black, of course, a Canadian. He was a wealthy publisher. He was actually the Lord Black of Cross Harbor, I think. He is I should say Canadian, but he's British-born. No, I'm sorry. Canadian-born British citizen. He was the head of a big international newspaper enterprise that included, I think, the National in Canada and maybe a Chicago paper, others. And in 2007, Black was convicted of mail fraud and obstruction in the United States. He was supposedly going to defraud the shareholders of the company that owned all those newspapers of a lot of money. He was convicted on all the counts, but I think 2 were overturned subsequent to that, and he ended up going to prison, I believe, for 2 years.
You can't be defrauding the ruling class.
No. That is, you got to steal from the right people. And so here he is on Laura Ingram's show last night explaining why he got the pardon. He just wants to make it clear to everybody that it has nothing to do with the biography that he wrote about Donald Trump. What is the title of it? It is literally something like, it's Donald J. Trump, a president like no other. And
it's a beautiful title.
He's also written several op-eds. I think one of them was literally entitled "Trump is the Good Guy."
That rules.
It's tough but fair.
But
it was a very honest piece, and it came down to some unmistakable conclusions in a fair way.
And Conrad Black wants you to understand that had nothing to do with the pardon.
Conrad, everybody knows that you and I have known each other for a long time, and I've spoken about your absurd case for many, many years and written about it. But your reaction to those who say that this was just your flattery that won you a pardon?
Laura, thank you for having me on. My reaction is I have absolutely no reason to believe that the president is even aware that I wrote that book. He certainly has never mentioned it. and in any case, anyone who has read it can see that it is not uncritical. It's no whitewash.
It's tough.
Points out some of the less salubrious aspects of his career. And I'm not uncritical of him. In general, I am a supporter for policy reasons. And he was at pains to say when he phoned last week that his motivation, and he authorized me to say this, urged me to say this, was not that we've known each other a long time or that I've been generally supportive of him. It is that after careful examination by the White House counsel and his legal staff, they confirmed what Alan Dershowitz and other lawyers said on my behalf.
Yep.
And the president's own words were, it was an unjust verdict. And I never should have been charged, and it was a bad rap. Those were his motives. If he handed favors out to his friends, then, there would be, you'd have 5 ambassadors in every embassy.
And
okay, first off, so we're to believe that his lawyers, that Conrad Black is just super lucky that his last name starts with a B, because I was going down the list and I got to the B's and then you just stood right out.
It was a lugubrious process.
Look, there's this black guy that wrote a positive book about me. We need to get him out of jail.
His name is Conrad Black, and he's my Black. He said, though it wasn't all lugubrious, that it was good.
Put up the tweet that Trump also wrote. He didn't. There's no indication that probably did not come up at all when Donald Trump authorized Conrad Black to say, "This is not just because I know you, but it's because you really deserved it."
What an honor to read your piece. As one of the truly great intellects and my friend, I won't forget.
That was in 2015.
Right, so I forgot about it.
Total coincidence. I forgot about that.
I had amnesia, and then I was going through because you got to go by the list. And so we were down it's like at least several hundred people before you go through it. And after careful judicial review, and look, we just happened to fall upon this guy.
I just love the fact that Conrad Black is like, I'm going to go on television. Like, rather than just sort of lay low, I'm going to go on television and tell people this definitely was not because I've written all that positive stuff about Donald Trump or that I've known him for a long time. If Donald Trump, he wants us to believe that Donald Trump is not the type of guy to give his friends favors.
I don't pay attention to the press.
Yeah, that's not true. It's literally the one thing I think people understand about Donald Trump.
Donald Trump was probably like the third person to sign up for Google alerts for their own name, like in the history of the service.
It was how I learned how to use Google, actually.
It's like a hack that tells you everything someone's saying about you.
It's amazing.
I had no idea you wrote a book about me calling me a unique president. No idea. It's just amazing that they can everyone involved in the production of that hit on television didn't just die of embarrassment in that one moment. Like,
well,
literally.
In a way, it would have been even more difficult if I knew he wrote a book about me, because that would have had the appearance of impropriety. And we all know that when you're in office, it's a tough standard. So it's one thing, actual impropriety, which you can never do. But even the appearance of impropriety is a problem. So lucky for Conrad, I didn't know he wrote the book.
If he wrote a book that was nasty about me, I would have pardoned him sooner.
If he wrote a book that was bad, I would have had to pardon him on the first day.
And frankly, I would have had to have had someone read it for me and then explain it to me. So, unbelievable.
Big reader.
Big reader. I like to read big things.
I read books about ideas, not people.